Varkosh was not always the terrifying figure known as the Crimson Nightmare. His origins are rooted in a brutal survival story, one marked by betrayal, loss, and the emergence of an unyielding desire to dominate. The hunt beginnings. Varkosh was born into a small Calderal clan, nestled deep in the untamed wilds of Lycarvathan. He was a creature of instinct, like all Calderil, but he was different in a way that even his elders could not recognize. From a young age, Varkosh displayed an insatiable hunger for strength, an unrelenting desire to become something greater than mere prey or hunter. His youth was marked by constant testing, both physical and mental, pushed to his limits by his clan's elders who believed that the strongest would rule the pack. However, Varkosh's rise to dominance was not without its dark moments. The Calderil are known for their brutal, merciless hunting traditions. But Varkosh's encounters were always steeped in an underlying tension. There was something wrong, something violent in how he approached the hunt. He killed not just for food, not just for survival, but for the thrill of watching his prey's last moments unravel. He would stalk them for days, letting them believe they had escaped, only to strike when they had given up hope. The thrill of that terror, the fear in the eyes of his prey, was what set him apart from his kin. It wasn't long before his behavior began to unders within the clan. The Caldero clan is fiercely competitive, but the others recognized that Varkosh's drive was not just about becoming the apex. It was about something darker, more primal. His hunger for power led him to commit unspeakable acts to prove his worth. As Varkosh's strength grew, so did his ambition, and his reputation started to outshine even that of the elders. One fateful night, during a moonless sky, the clan leaders, sensing the threat Varkosh posed, decided to eliminate him before his growing power could unseat their dominance. They lured him into a trap, an ambush deep within the wilds, far from the safety of their stronghold. Varkosh, always calculating, always aware, realized the betrayal too late. The leaders had sought to weaken him first by having a rival pack, the Nykarvathans, chase him into an ambush. But what they hadn't counted on was his bloodlust. In the dark depths of the forest, surrounded by rivals and deceived by those he once called kin, Varkosh was forced into a fight for his life. The Nykarvathans, a relentless pack of apex predators, descended upon him. These were no ordinary creatures. These were the terrifying were-clouded leopards, creatures capable of turning the tide of any battle with their savage ferocity. Varkosh had no choice but to fight to survive. But the hunt, this betrayal, this endless struggle, something inside Varkosh snapped. The Calderal warrior became a beast, not simply driven by the need to survive, but by the need to make them all pay. In a whirlwind of claws and fury, Varkosh killed every Nykarvathan that came at him. He used their bodies as weapons, their fangs as trophies, but his rage didn't end there. With the last Nykarvathan dead, Varkosh turned his wrath upon the traitorous Calderil who had betrayed him. His eyes burned with a fire that could not be extinguished. He ripped through their ranks like a tempest, overwhelming them with the sheer force of his unbridled fury. Their screams echoed through the night as Varkosh tore apart the very ones who had sought to end him. Varkosh's rampage was not just physical, it was spiritual. As his claws tore through flesh and his fangs sank into bone, he transcended the mere notion of hunter and prey. He became something far more dangerous, an unstoppable force, an apex predator of myth. He had not only overcome the ambush, he had become the embodiment of terror itself. His body was scarred, bloodied, but his spirit had transformed. The battle had awakened something deep within him, a hunger that could never be satisfied. He had learned that to rule the wilds, he would need to become the very nightmare he had witnessed as a child. He embraced the shadows, the darkness of the hunt, and allowed it to consume him. It was no longer enough to be a predator. He would become the apex, the one that all creatures would fear and respect. The true transformation came during the night of the Crimson Moon, a rare celestial event that occurs once every century, when the skies are bathed in a blood-red hue. Varkosh stood atop a cliff, overlooking the vast wilderness. his chest heaving with raw energy. The blood of his enemies still stained his fur, and the howls of the defeated rang in his ears. Under the red moonlight, Varkosh experienced a changed one that no Calderal had ever undergone before. His mind sharpened to an unimaginable degree. His physical form stretched and expanded. In that moment, he reached the apex of his evolution. His body grew massive, towering, with claws that could rend through stone and venomous fangs that could end the mightiest of beasts. His presence alone became a storm, a terrifying force of nature that could not be reckoned with. He was the Crimson Nightmare, the hunter, the predator who had transcended all boundaries. His aura radiated such pure, unrelenting fear that even the bravest of warriors, even the fiercest of animals, were struck motionless in his presence. From that night forward, Varkosh became something more than a mere Calderal. He became a warlord, carving a path of destruction through the wilds. His reputation spread far and wide. His name became synonymous with death. He hunted the most legendary creatures, the mightiest of beasts, until there were none left who dared to challenge him. In the aftermath of his rise, Varkosh killed any who would dare to defy him. He ruled through terror, his enemies crushed beneath his feet. He claimed the title of the Crimson Nightmare not just as a symbol of his power, but as a reminder that all who stood in his way would be hunted down and destroyed. Yet, in the deepest recesses of his mind, Varkosh harbors a singular truth. He has become the apex, but the hunt is never truly over. To be the strongest, to reign supreme, he must continue to kill, continue to evolve. His quest for ultimate dominance will never end. The hunt, it seems, has only just begun. Varkosh's legacy continues, his name whispered in fear across the land, a reminder that no one, not even the gods themselves, can stand before him.